You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's WWE SmackDown After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's WWE SmackDown After Show.
Nice little lead-in. Like that?
I love it.
All right, welcome to SmackDown After Show. I'm your host, Ric Drasin. My co-host today is Angelina, Little Egypt, and she's going to be a regular here, so we're really happy about that. And I want to say that the Ballards are off today. They're doing a wrestling tour for a couple of days, but they'll be back next week.
Cool.
So they're off taking some bumps in the ring, and we're not. And then we have a special guest who I'm going to have you introduce, who is another wrestler. Been around a long, long time, right?
Yes, a long, long time. Our guest today, the almighty Sheik. He's been wrestling for 14 years, currently involved with Billy Corgan's promotion, Resistance Pro, which I love, also known as R Pro in the industry. He's traveled the world as a professional wrestler, held the NWA and the 01 Japan World Championship title, ranked 102 in the top 500 of wrestlers in the world, and ranked 5 in the top 10 Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So unfortunately, he got hurt, and I'd like the story on that. You got injured in September, and you began a graphics company, which has done really well, and you're working with several promotions, including Resistance Pro, and in the music industry, you're also working with the Smashing Pumpkins.
That's correct. Thank you so
You're
much.
a busy
for having
guy.
me.
Yeah.
You got to be. When you get hurt wrestling, you don't get paid, right?
You know what you do? You go to Plan B.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, many people don't have Plan B.
Yeah,
Until they're like 50, and they, I should have had Plan B, because now what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to pick up Plan B when you get injured, because
Yeah.
when you're in the entertainment business, when you get hurt, you don't get paid. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
What are you doing with the graphics?
I have a company called bumpdrunk.com. That's bumpdrunk.com. And, like boxers are punch drunk, wrestlers are bump drunk.
Of course.
So we do wrestling graphics. We do flyers, DVDs, DVD covers, websites, anything graphic related. For professional wrestling, we have worked with Ring of Honor. We've
there we
worked
go.
with, there we are.
Oh, wonderful.
There's the Smashing Pumpkins designs we just did for their latest tour. And so.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to have to go to that site.
Thank you. Yeah, and we got tank tops up now for summer. We do all types of retro professional wrestling stuff that I grew up loving, stuff that many people grew up loving that's not around anymore. We are the only company that's able to do Bruiser Brody merchandise
Really?
With the blessing of his
Yeah.
widow, Miss Barbara Goodish.
Good.
And we're putting some quality stuff out there, and real good products, and working with a lot of great people.
You do your own printing on T-shirts? You job that out?
We do both. It depends. Every job's different. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. I used to do that.
Oh,
I
excellent.
had my own printing company for years, and all my
man.
own graphic designs, and then went to web. So this kind of stuff really interests me.
Oh, cool.
And it's really creative and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way to not have a 9-to-5 job and still be creative. So
And even if it's not 9 to 5, if you're doing it yourself, it's 24/7.
yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it because it's fun.
Exactly.
And it's just like wrestling. When you're
Exactly.
wrestling, you have the passion for it. It's not a job.
Sure.
In fact, my first wife used to tell me I'm going on a wrestling tour, and she says, "Let's take a vacation." I said, "We just came back from a tour." She says, "But that was a working vacation." No, I don't buy that.
Yeah.
You know what? So I'm getting paid for 15 minutes a night. The rest of the time we're free to run around. Be happy that we did this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lift out of my own wallet and go do this again.
Yeah. Being a professional wrestler enables you to travel the world on somebody else's dime.
Exactly.
It's a
Oh, my
pretty good
God.
gig.
Exactly.
Pretty good gig.
I was an NWA junior heavyweight champion back in the 70s here at the Olympic Auditorium and down in the South in Dothan, Alabama.
World famous Olympia.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. That place is something else.
Yeah.
Still, that gives me chills when I drive by there.
I can hear all the fans in there going crazy.
Oh, what an exciting time. Are you retired from wrestling, or do you see
no.
yourself coming back?
You know, I was going to come back to the ring in April. I've been off for 8 months. The injury that I sustained it on a tour of Australia. I was on the second day of a 2-week tour, and I destroyed my ankle completely, all the ligaments, and I broke the outer bone. And it was an accident, and I thought I was going to come back by April. My doctor said that was pretty optimistic. So I pushed it back to June, and it feels like it still needs some time to cook. So I'm just gonna, I just celebrated another birthday. So as you get older in this business, and I've been doing this for 14 years, your body has a certain number of falls and bumps, as we call them, that you can take. You actually have a bump counter that's
You get a bump card.
Exactly. and I've used mine pretty well. But I would like to come back especially for special appearances and things like that, and working with Billy Corgan and certain promotions like 01 Japan is promotion that I'm very close with. I run 01 camps in the United States to get wrestlers to go to Japan. So I'm very much involved in wrestling, but being in the ring is still my passion. So possibly, optimistically, I'd like to come back this year, but I'm smart enough to know if I can't.
Right.
And I've done pretty much everything I feel I can do. I've main evented Japan, I've main evented other countries, and held world titles, and I did more than I thought I would ever do. So if it was the end, I'd be okay. But, I still
You made your statement.
Exactly.
I wouldn't mind doing one more, but at my age, I think it'd be lock it up, take it home.
You and me.
That would be cool.
All right, let's lock it up, take it home right now. No bumps, baby.
Okay, well, did you watch SmackDown
I
Friday?
did watch SmackDown. It's been a while since I have watched a program, but I watched it and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic program this week.
It was actually one of the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, now, did you notice there was not a Diva match? What is the deal?
That happens.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was surprised, but there was a lot of promos.
It's girls' night off. Let's start with the Miz, with his.
Sure, Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
Wade Barrett and the Miz. Fandango basically sticks around to do a commentary and later starts dancing to interrupt the match, causing a disqualification. And then Barrett ends up taking out Fandango for interfering in the match.
Right.
I love Fandango.
He's got a huge following.
Oh my God!
The one thing about Fandango that I really appreciate, a lot of the fans in this day and age, they say there's no characters in wrestling anymore, and I tend to disagree with Damien Sandow and Fandango, and you're really seeing the birth of the character, not the birth, but the
resurgence,
resurgence, if you will, of the characters, and I love it. And Fandango plays that to a T. He's a fantastic performer. Some of the stuff, the chemistry was a bit off, but those guys were but Fandango's actual performance as a character is impeccable.
It's
wonderful.
Flawless.
Yeah.
I have to, okay, so we're talking about Fandango. You are a character wrestler. I wrestled in a character.
Sure.
His character is so defined already that when you say Fandango, you know exactly what it is.
There we go.
Uh-oh. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Isn't that fantastic?
I think it is fantastic, and just somebody. He's a natural heel.
Yeah.
He just walks out there and he gets heat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic character, and I enjoy watching him.
I love the way he dances with Summer Rae, but I keep wanting to call her Summer's Eve, and I know that's horrible, but I can't get that. I can't play to that. She is such a good dancer, and they work so well together. And even when she's out there, just her facial expressions, when she's pouting and she's doing all that, I buy it.
His facial expressions are good too.
Oh my
for
God,
sure.
he's so funny.
And Wade Barrett is just that double tough guy.
Oh, yeah.
You see him; he's so legitimate. I mean, I really enjoy watching him as well. Everything he does. There was a shot where he that punch he did. That was just out of this world. It was just beautiful. It looked really stiff and gorgeous. And Wade Barrett's really fun for me.
And hopefully it wasn't stiff.
Yeah, hopefully.
It'd be gorgeous and loose. But we knew that was going to culminate into a match between The Miz and Wade Barrett.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, you just know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And I like The Miz.
Yeah. He's one of those heels that grates on me for the wrong reasons.
Why's that?
Yeah.
What is it? Just it didn't define a character, or you're not into the gimmick?
It's just I'm not a fan. It's sometimes you walk into a room and you're like, I just don't like that guy.
I have one. Yeah.
Is that a good thing? I have one.
You didn't say that when I walked in.
But that could be a good thing, right?
Right.
But it's that. I think in this era of heels are cool and things, you see certain heels and you like them, even though you love to boo them. He's just one of those guys, I want to turn the channel when I see him.
Well,
no disrespect to his talent.
I didn't like that at first. I know the Ballards trained him, but I think that he's got an element about him that he can take outside of wrestling somewhere else.
Well, I think that's so obvious. Though.
Yeah.
I think
I had no idea the Ballards trained The Miz.
I just made that up. No.
Did he really?
No, they actually did.
Good Lord.
He does many of their like signings and appearances and stuff. He's one of the WWE's really staple guys. That
Exactly.
does so many things for the company. So he's a real company guy. So I mean, Miz is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, he's a good representative of all that.
Sure.
And he does a good job. And for what he is, he does a good job.
Yeah, he does.
And didn't he come from Real World or something?
He did come from the real world, and his wrestling from when he started till now. I mean, you can't fault the guy. I mean, he's grown leaps and bounds. I mean, he's a tremendous performer.
Big time.
He's just one of those guys that I see him and I'm just like, but I don't think he's not a credit to the promotion. I think he's a fantastic.
You know where that comes from? Being in the business so long.
Exactly. You see things.
You see things that other people outside the business don't see.
Yeah.
And you see it right away, and it's like, okay, I got to watch this.
Well, I think opening with Fandango, and I watched the whole show, but I think he stole it. To me, he stole the show. I can't wait to see him again. I am a Fandango freak.
That's exactly what they wanted him to do.
Well, it worked.
And he did his job.
I hope that they do more character profiles like that, really specific, like another Sheik or something.
Hey,
don't
let's
mean
not
to
get
throw that. How about a Sheik? How about a Sheik?
I'm not taking
Come
that travel
on.
schedule. No.
How does that play
man.
with all the Middle East problems?
It's played right into my hands.
Exactly.
It's
Because
perfect.
didn't they do this back in the 80s too?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, in
yeah.
the 70s and the 80s, and it's a no-brainer. You just walk out there and it works.
And
Yeah,
the original
instantly.
Sheik way back in the 60s,
yeah.
he got
Yeah.
a lot of heat.
Yeah.
He's probably the greatest villain of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He really is.
So the Miz got that one on a DQ.
Yeah. I want to say one thing about Kane, because he was ringside. I liked him years ago when he was a monster and couldn't talk, because his character was really like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The mask. And,
Yeah.
he's burnt in the fire. And now it's like he's completely changed. And first of all, he took his mask off and he was bald for quite a while. Now he's got the mask back. But his dialogue is just like, we're going to have a match tonight. And it's like, it's not the same guy.
Yeah. Well, I think
And he's great. But
it's the same thing with the Big Show. Is like these guys have been around for so long, and they need these guys because these guys are tent poles, if you will, in this company.
Yeah.
Right.
But what can you do with somebody for 10 years, for 14 years? You know what I mean? You have to have an evolution. Do you agree with every evolution of the character? Maybe not, but these characters have to evolve. Unfortunately, for somebody who's watching it the whole time through, you see the holes in it because he's a maniac one week, then 2 months
Right.
later he's okay and he's talking, then he's got the mask on, then he doesn't have the mask on. But for the younger viewer, the child that just pops it on, and the short attention span viewer,
Right.
it's working.
Well, they have new audiences every year. New kids
Exactly.
pop into it, and it's new to them. If you mention somebody to these kids about someone in the 80s, they don't even know who it is.
Yeah, but these guys being able to keep careers with that road schedule and in that much of a high pressure cooker of the WWE for over a decade, some of
Yeah.
them almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
That's a testament to what a brilliant athlete and a brilliant psychology they bring to the table.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a difficult spot to keep. And these guys have kept top spots, Big Show and Kane for those years. Kane especially is just a real go-to guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, but what do you
And they're under pressure from the higher ups.
Sure.
To be what they have to do, and it's
to make money.
To make money, and
Yep.
it's got to be on time. It's got to be this, got to be that. Change this, do that, and so they're pressured all the time. And it's
Absolutely.
it's 280 days out of the year, 300 days out of the year.
that just doesn't sound good to me.
You know how you feel after a match just one night.
Yeah.
I know. Could you imagine?
Yeah. Can you imagine
Yeah.
the compound of the bumps for a month,
Yeah.
a year,
Absolutely.
2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's why, you can see in the matches when they're really kind of taking that week off,
Yeah.
when
they house shows
physically,
especially,
yeah.
a lot of guys are like, I go crazy every night. Okay, wait till you're 5 years in.
Well, it's the same thing with your injury. These guys get injured a lot.
Yeah.
And they're off. And they come back pretty quick,
Yeah.
which surprises me. I mean, Triple H tore his quad, someone else did something else, and 4 or 5 weeks they're back in the ring again. I know what it's like to recuperate from that. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these guys do have the greatest, best, doctors and the best physical therapy that known to man.
Right.
But still, you need that time.
Yeah, the body has to heal.
Yeah, you need that time.
And then you're
Without a
gun shy about getting out in the ring because you don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Yeah. And then, when you take into consideration the fact that you do have these Randy Ortons and these Triple H's and these guys that you need.
Yeah.
You need these guys to help the younger guys to throw that toe rope down and bring them up. So you really got to be delicate. But it seems like the WWE just runs them at 12 all the time. But I think nowadays it's a little bit more. The guys can take that time off for an injury. Where back in the day, somebody else would just pop into their spot and they'd be done for.
That's the end of it, yeah.
So guys would work injured for a long time. Then they'd get all types of problems with how they'd mask those injuries, and then you'd see all the problems with the deaths and everything. So I think now maybe there's a little more sympathy up there, hopefully, for these guys, because these guys are running on 12, for years at a time.
Sure, sure.
Well, can we touch on the second match that
Sure.
was with?
Well, we had a little promo though.
Oh yeah, that's right.
With
we
a
did.
knot, with the
Swagger.
Gordian knot.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
Well,
Was it kind of boring?
no, it's kind of fun. Sandow's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good on the mic. And the trick with the knot, I don't know if he can untie the knot or not. He cut it, and that was it. But it was a cute little gimmick. And there's one thing he said that I thought was really clever. He was saying mathematically, this could be figured out, so you have to be a mathlete.
Yes.
That was good.
I love that.
That was
I wrote that
good.
down. I got to use that
Yeah.
on something. I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of funny.
Yeah, the whole promo seemed like it was just like something they came up with on the fly.
Yeah.
It was the Gordian
Yeah.
knot and stuff. It was pretty weird. But the thing I didn't like about that whole segment was Sheamus tossed the
Yeah.
announcer on him, and Sheamus is a babyface, and I was like, wait a second,
Yeah.
like, what are we trying to, back in the day, a Hogan or a top babyface would never do something like that. And,
Right.
and that kind of, I hadn't watched SmackDown in a long time, and that one particular spot on the whole show stood out to me like, whoa, this is a new era.
And why
happens.
didn't Sheamus just cut the rope himself? That's how legend goes. It was Alexander the Great that came upon the Gordian knot, and boom, he cut it, and then that was the end of the story. But then he didn't get that. He just throws the guy, and then that's it. We're left with, the knot being held by someone else, and I just didn't get
Yeah.
it. I just kind of forgave them for
it was
that.
a filler. It was a filler.
Yeah.
But when he tossed
Yeah.
he tossed the announcer onto him, and then he's like going for the big pop, and
Yeah.
he gets it. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, that's a strange anti-bullying kind of,
Exactly.
that just seemed a little out of place to me. But hey,
And they probably didn't even think of that.
yeah, it was a strange
Yeah.
strange one.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we can go to Jericho if we
Why,
like.
thanks. Well, it's just Daniel Bryan and
Swagger,
the
yeah.
Swagger match, and the whole, what is Daniel Bryan doing with the beard, and where is he going? I mean,
Fashion.
what's happening?
He's a goat.
Fashion.
Do you really think
Yeah,
so?
they call him
I mean,
the
is
goat.
he
The ladies
eventually
love
going to
it.
turn? Yeah, it's true. It's true, but I mean,
It's getting more and more straggly every time I see it. It's
exactly.
like-
I know. I'm just like, when's he going to put on the overalls and completely change his character? When are we going to see that? Where's he going? And I love that he was so fiery, like the Tasmanian Devil, and I'm not the weak link. You remember all that? He was going off
Yeah,
on not being the weak link on that.
They ended the segment before the commercial with the little promo to give
Yeah.
you the what the story of the match was. They played out the story beautifully in the match. The match was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
The best I've seen Swagger look in a long time.
I like Swagger.
Yeah, but Daniel Bryan is a phenomenal wrestler. He looked fantastic, and I thought that particular match was the match of the night, probably level with the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can work with anybody.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But Swagger's come a long way. He's
Oh,
got
definitely.
he's got a good old school look.
Yeah, he does.
A big lumbering guy,
Yep.
And as he ages and matures, he'll have it even more.
Sure, and the whole character with him and Zeb, and back to the characters and all that those guys are the biggest characters of all. So they're continuing with that with everybody, and I think it's a good thing for the product.
Do you know Zeb?
I've met him many times. I lived in Puerto Rico for a year, and he was working with the other company. I worked with Carlos Colon for the World Wrestling Council, and he was responsible for really the IWA was the competition, and he was the booker there, and he is a brilliant, absolutely brilliant booker. And when I got there, we were beating their pants off, and by the time I left, they were beating our pants off.
Wow.
So he really turned that company around, and I've met him a few times. I've rode with him a few times. Not a best friend or anything, but I've been on the road with him a couple times, and he's a stiff character. I mean, he'll tell you what he thinks. I
worked with him at a small show years and years and years ago for one of the Guerreros. Gory Guerrero was a promoter, and he had me booked with him, and we had a match, and I had a nice time with him. I really learned a lot.
Very smart,
good.
very smart guy. Yeah, definitely. If you see a guy like Zeb, you'd want to sit down and under the learning tree with him and sponge that knowledge, because he's
even to this day with his character now, you can see he knows exactly where he's going.
Oh yeah, he's one of the special ones.
Yes, he is. Okay.
Good to hear. Let's go to match 3. You want to chat about that?
Let's go.
That was Jericho versus The Big Show. And, okay, I'm kind of fast-forwarding a little bit, but when The Big Show slaps Jericho in the chest, did you see how red his chest was and how it stayed red for the rest of the match?
Yeah.
I thought, oh, he felt that.
Oh.
He felt that.
Felt
that
that in his back.
Yes. I know. I love Jericho.
Jericho's great.
Yeah.
Big Show's hands like a dinner plate.
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. You hit with that, you feel it.
And when the slapping, I think big guys should slap.
Yeah.
I think because it's so effective. It has this humongous sound that radiates, and it almost like everything vibrates around him. It's really effective.
He doesn't telegraph that slap that much, but it lands.
Oh, the thing about the Big Show is it's so, my old school brain. It's so hard for me to see him sell that much. He's on the mat and stuff, and it's like, oh man, and when he went up to the second rope to drop that elbow, I was just like, no, dude, please don't do that to your. I mean, that's a 500-pound guy dropping down on that, and I think that this far, I mean, he wants to leave it all out in the ring, and God bless him for that. But I'm thinking there was a more intelligent way for him to get into that lion salt. I mean that made me go, oh boy, just that big body going, taking that big spill, because that's got to hurt him way more than it hurts anybody. Our
He's
size.
a very hard-working guy for the company too,
and a heck of a guy.
Yeah.
I got the chance to meet him a few times, and I had a chance to meet him and Shaq on the same night in
really?
And they were on either side of me in Miami.
Like bookends.
Talk about
how's that? How did that work out?
I felt like the puniest man in the world.
I love it.
I was just like, I got to get out of here. Very inferior, I felt.
Big Show's a good worker.
That's staple. Yeah, fantastic.
And what people don't realize when you work with somebody that big and you're small, you've got to do different things to make that match work. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy to work with a big man.
No.
Unless you know how to work him.
Yeah, you have to have a certain psychology with a big man. Absolutely. Yeah. Some guys will just try to do all types of things, and there's a psychology that you have to follow when you're working a guy that much bigger to make it believable. And Jericho's a pro. I mean, both of those guys. Jericho's amazing. He's been doing it forever. He's a fantastic worker.
You could put Rey Mysterio with Big Show and it would work too.
Yeah. Oh, Rey. they've worked matches that I've seen, and they're just phenomenal.
He's all over the place on him, in between, up here, around there.
Yeah, Ray's one of those guys that he's just a small little guy, but boy is he believable in how he makes big guys sell for him.
Yes.
It's just he's so phenomenal. He just hits them from every angle, and he's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think we'll ever see another wrestler as good as Rey in that flawless, effortless, high flying he does. I don't think we'll see that for years to come. I think he is somebody that's just absolutely unique.
I've had a lot of people contact me that want to become wrestlers and they're about that size, and I always tell them too small. So they say, "What about Rey Mysterio?" I said, "That's 1 in a million."
Oh, he's
it's not going to happen for you if you're 5'4", 110 pounds.
He's special.
Yeah,
he's special.
And he comes from a family of it.
Yeah,
it's all that's the way it is. Just because they see him, they think they can do it too.
Yeah.
And just like people on the street too, they see wrestling, they say, "Oh, I watch it at home. I know I can do that." And they bump the ring once, and
we've sent guys. When I started wrestling, we would stay at the gym so much that they ended up giving us the keys, and we'd have guys come in there that were 300-pounders, and they'd run away crying with their tails between their legs. And guys don't really understand how physically demanding that this sport is, and then compound it with the fact that if you do get to that level, you're 280 days a year. I mean, this is something that is the real deal. That only real athletes really respect us as athletes, which is strange. The common public will look at it and whatever. But a real athlete will be like, man, I know, because he sees it. He can feel what you're going through.
Well, the common public that's fake. You guys don't get hurt.
Exactly.
I hear it all day long. And,
you try to tell them, when you go to the top rope and you land there, you really go to the top rope and you land there. What's fake about that?
Right.
I'd like to see somebody try to do that without tucking their chin. They would die. Yeah. I mean, there's certain. I mean, pro wrestling, you can die any second in pro wrestling if you are not a trained professional. There's so many ways to hurt yourself, even when you are, like myself. I got hurt, in Australia on a tour. It was an accident. Like, you can get knocked down and leveled like that in our business when it's not even your fault, and wrong place, wrong time, you're leveled, you're down. It's a very dangerous sport, and that's the one thing about professional wrestling is I really do wish we had the respect that the sport demands. I mean, it's a shame, but when people are around you, they talk differently.
And then it's like, those aren't real chairs, are they? They're real chairs. If you see them pull them out of an audience and use it, that's a real chair.
I've never. I'm waiting for this fake chair and this fake table and this fake everything. I'm waiting to be on that show that they use.
Right. And then the average man or the average woman slips and falls in their living room or outside in their garden, and they're down for a week. They're all bruised up. And I said, think about that. You fall out there, but you fall in the ring like 30 times in a match. You don't think that hurts?
Oh, they think it's a trampoline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much I get that.
And I tell people all the time, I say it's just like, it's just like cutting a pool. If you don't cut a pool right, you belly flop and it hurts.
Yeah.
Just think if it's like concrete and you belly flop on that. So, you don't tuck your chin, your head whacks the canvas. They don't take into consideration the boards slap you back, your spine, your neck, your shoulders, everything hurts, So, and it's funny because you can wrestle 10, 12, 14, 20 days in a row, and your body just develops this callus.
Yes.
But if you stop wrestling for a month, 2 months, you go back and take that first bump, and that's what I'm dreading. I'm dreading coming back in the ring to take that first bump because I know it's going to be the worst bump of my career. It's funny
you mentioned that. I was off for quite a while, and they brought me back to the Olympic one night, and I was booked with John Studd. And he gave me a suplex, and I hit, and I saw stars, and I said, what in the world prompted me to come down here tonight?
Oh, that's a long way down.
It's a long way down.
Yeah.
What was John Studd? Legit 6'9"?
Yeah.
That's a long way down.
That kind of, I don't mean to preach to the choir, but that is where, I think that if you spend more time developing a storyline, that's a fewer less bumps you have to take.
Well,
True.
The end of my career, I'm not finished yet, but at the last few years, I did more stuff and I did less bumps because I was experienced enough to make it all about getting the audience just into my character, connecting with my character. And you're absolutely right. The more they connect with you, the less bumps you have to take.
And let's look at this. If you look at Fandango's airtime, probably it ran for like maybe 10 minutes.
Yep, 10 minutes.
How many bumps? Not till the end, and it was just kicks mostly. And he was giving them, not taking them. He got bumped at the end. But this is what I think would make for more entertaining television, where I think they feel like the WWE feels like they have to feed this monster. Like it has to be move after move after move. Like the last match was fantastic, but I go back and I think you can build storylines and take less bumps, and these guys will have a longer shelf life, and it'll be better for the viewers.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think it breaks down to advertising. If that match is a 5-minute segment and they're not go in the whole time, and they stop and put somebody in a chin lock for 2 minutes, the audience will be connected, but I think the viewer at home will change the channel, and I think they need to go. The problem is when you take that to the live business with the independent wrestling, they see what's on television, and they think you gotta go, and they just do stuff to do stuff. And when you're in a house show setting, if you will, you slow it down and you get those people connected and you take them on that ride. I always love being the puppet master and taking people on that roller coaster ride, the ups, the downs, the starts, the stops. When they think you're going left, you go right. And then sometimes you just give them what they want, and sometimes you take it away, and that's
so
the
true.
art.
So true.
Yeah, it's the art. And I think nowadays TV wrestling is just a mile a minute, and I think it's because we're in this generation of video games and low attention span and ADD and.
But it doesn't have to be that way because Fandango steals the show, and I'm going to go back to about 10 minutes of airtime and a couple bumps.
And he's all we're talking about.
Yes.
Well, think about it this way. Years ago we had ovens. Now we have microwaves, and they're not fast enough.
Yeah.
They got to be faster. But you're right. On the indie shows, everybody wants to do their spots and do it quick, and it doesn't mean a thing.
No rhyme or reason.
No. No stories.
Well, okay, so that was that. And that was Jericho via the count out. And that was entertaining. Jericho's a pro without a doubt. When we look at match 4, it's Curtis Axel versus Cena.
Before that, we had a promo though with Triple H.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's a recap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a recap,
That's
actually.
right. Paul Heyman comes out, does his little thing. What do you think of that? What do you think of...
I love
think
Paul
of that?
Heyman on the mic.
I think Paul Heyman is probably the best thing going right now in WWE. His promos are so engaging.
Yes.
They just pull you in. He's one of the best talkers of our era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just phenomenal. I can't say enough good stuff about him. And he's got to the point to where, and what they're doing is fantastic, is back in the day, if you put somebody with Gary Hart, they were instantly over. So now, they're really touting the fact of the Brock Lesnar and the CM Punk and the title reign and everything. So now you put Curtis Axel with Paul Heyman, boom, he's immediately over. Now, taking into consideration, this guy can really work. His promo skills are just not there yet. Will they ever come? I don't know. Kurt Hennig was a fantastic wrestler, but he really didn't have the promo skills.
Yeah.
In an era where if you did have him, you made a heck of a lot more money, which I'm sure he made plenty.
Yeah.
But Paul Heyman with Curtis Axel, if you're Curtis Axel, you're loving life that you're paired up with him.
Well,
Yeah.
sure.
'Cause that's money years coming his way.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, inshallah, mashallah, inshallah, right? You would know,
Yeah.
my fellow brother,
Yes.
Avi. But back to, where is he? How is he developing as a wrestler? Okay, yeah, he's in the early stages, but I don't see any type of character profile. He's not establishing anything except for Paul's my manager.
Right.
I mean, I don't really get it. I don't really get where he's going with that. I'm bored.
It depends on where he's coming from, which
Yeah.
was his dad and his grandfather.
Which he threw under the bus. He throws that legacy under the bus.
That I didn't get. Yeah, that I really didn't get. I mean, really, the legacy of him being better than everybody would have been what I would have picked up. But you never know where they're driving the car to. You never know what's going to happen in the coming weeks. As of right now, I agree with you. It's all Paul Heyman, and he's giving this guy the rub. Please don't give him the mic because he's killing the promo. Let him do the wrestling. His wrestling. He did a drop kick in that match that he pushed Sin Cara to the ropes, jumped up and smacked him with that drop kick, and it was amazing and spectacular. So does he have the goods in the ring? Absolutely. We need to get more of that story though, because we want to sink our teeth into him as a character, and that'll be good for business. But as of right now, Paul Heyman is doing a fantastic job with him.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to turn babyface because I'm not buying the heel.
No, not yet. He's got a long road to go.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they're just chugging him along right now.
Right. Well, Steve Austin talks about, when he finally developed his character. It came long after he was wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And he had this like pretty boy persona babyface, and it wasn't until he defined himself as like the avenger of the working class that he was able to go over. And I think Curtis needs to start thinking about that. I mean, you can't just ride your parents' legacy and that be your gimmick, because that's just it's already fizzled out. He needs a gimmick that's going to transcend and that we can attach to. Because I want back to Fandango. I love Fandango. He's a heel.
Yeah.
Kurt, I want to love you, but I can't because I don't know who you are yet.
I think you're just missing out on the fact that he has no character, and I think that's just not resonating with you yet.
He's had different names before, though.
Yes. The first one was Michael McGillicuddy, I believe was, and that was horrible. But it's strange because what they do with him is everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
They even put it over on the mic who he is.
Yeah.
And they give him this name, so the fans are like, "What?"
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
I think it's bad for him. And then what they do now, I understand the melding of the names. Okay, so let's go with that. And then when he threw the legacy under the bus, I thought that was very strange. I mean, okay, maybe he's going for the disrespectful. But I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think you can ride a family legacy. I mean, look at the Guerreros. I mean, that's a great name in the industry.
And the
but
Ortons.
exactly. And you still have to make it. You still have to go over.
You still gotta have the goods.
Yeah, you still have to have the goods.
You know who didn't?
Who's that?
David Flair.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Good point.
Good point.
Yeah, that was a disappointment.
Yeah.
So-
Well, he really, really had some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and was he there way too soon? I mean, there's so many, but could he have ever been Ric Flair? I don't think so.
No, I don't think he was even trained to do anything.
It sure didn't look.
Didn't look like it at all.
Yeah, that's a
He
shame.
wanted to show up tonight, put some boots on. Come on.
Yeah.
We have to go to iTunes.
Okay.
Did you know that?
iTunes.
iTunes?
iTunes.
Because we're on iTunes, and we'd like you to go there and rate and comment because it gives us more power here. We get more people to watch, and we want to build our audience. And you only have to tell a friend. It only takes a minute, and they can tell a friend to download us on iTunes and listen to our show.
That is so cool. I'm going to be tweeting that at Little Egypt.
Okay.
And is it free if they go on iTunes? And
Yes, they
it's a
can
free
download for free.
podcast.
Yeah.
I can't beat that.
But we like to be rated and commented, and
Sure.
it builds our audience, and this is what pays for the show, so we can come down here and sit and chat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to have a really cool app being launched soon where you're going to be able to just pick the show
Oh, that's
that you want
wonderful.
to hear the podcast of. You can search and find your favorite special guest if you just want to see that guest appearances on what shows that guest appeared on. And so it's
incredible.
going to be really good. That's going to be launching soon, so stay tuned for some really good
Yeah,
news
everything's apps nowadays. You know, you were talking about Rey Mysterio and then this match with Curtis Axel and Sin Cara. I like Sin Cara.
there. Yeah, I do too.
And it takes a special person to work with him, too. And Curtis Axel based for him pretty well.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do.
No, it's
You
not.
have to know where you're going with that.
You know, the one thing that really struck me in this match is, I mean, I thought the match came off fantastic, and I see Sin Cara and I like him, and I've heard a lot of haters about Sin Cara about him hurting people and him doing all this stuff, and it leads me to it asks me to question, why would you put somebody that you're if the powers that be do believe that about him? You know, he's been in the doghouse lately and stuff, and I believe that's that's why he had that quick loss. But why would you put somebody with an up and coming star that you're trying to push if he's got a reputation for hurting people? I personally like Sin Cara. I think he's a fantastic luchador, especially for the children.
Yeah.
I think he's, they can get hooked on that mask. I think he's got the different lighting.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
everything about him is really cool. But I was kind of shocked that they put him with McGillicuddy or Axel.
McGillicuddy. Yeah, it was a strange combo. They did work, but I mean, it was a strange combo.
I thought they pulled off a heck of a match.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
really
yeah, they
good.
did.
It was very it was quick, but it was very action packed, and they hit everything.
They hit everything.
Yeah.
Didn't miss anything.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
Okay.
So 5 and 6 kind of hand in hand, but it started off as
Yes.
a singles match.
Very, very old school trick there.
Yeah, I love it.
That's the way promoters in the old school used to stretch the card. And they'd have two guys wrestle, something happen, and then you have this guy come out. Wait a minute, blah blah blah. And then it breaks off into into the 6-man, and that's an old school trick that I had a little. I was happy to see. I really liked that. Yeah, that was fantastic, and it worked out really well.
Well, I'd never really seen Dean Ambrose wrestle before, to any extent. He was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crisp and good and quick and everything about him. But the way they worked that match into the 6-man tag and their timing and being here and there and over there and over here, and it was like a lot to put together.
Yeah, that ending. It was like a fireworks show.
Exactly.
It was like ba-boom, 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 here, there, and everything was just seamless.
Yeah.
And, Kofi's missile dropkick off the top into the false finish was perfect. Everything was just, nobody dropped the ball on that, and it deserved to be the main event. It was a fantastic match.
I actually got, it's hard to look as a fan when you've been wrestling for years.
Yes.
But I glued myself to that, and I said, God, that's just like the best match I've ever seen.
Yeah, that match had me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Looking at it too. Yeah. When you see a match like that's moving that fast and everything's hitting and it's all making sense and it's just that exciting, you really your blood starts going and you realize why you got into this in the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they were like locusts. The Shields they came out like a herd of cattle. I mean, they just went onto the attack mode, and you didn't know which one was going to attack next. It was like they had this really neat, very complex form of beating their opponent.
Yeah.
Do you think, did Roman actually hurt his ankle?
Yes, I think he did.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, you saw him grab for it after he flew over the ropes?
He came off the ropes. He came down to the pavement, and you could see he hit his ankle wrong.
Yeah, and he grabbed it, and
he kept rubbing it and walked away with it. Yeah, he hurt his ankle.
Yeah, because I couldn't figure out how that would.
He wasn't in the match that much.
That.
He wasn't in the match that much.
I hope not for his sake, because he's got a real bright future. I hope he doesn't get, because an injury to him right now would, hopefully they would still keep him in the mix and stuff, but that would be pretty messed up, limping guy.
I don't know if it was that bad because he was still able to walk around, but he didn't get in the ring that often.
Yeah.
The thing about that match is, and what you said, they were all over the place in here. And a movie, they can choreograph a movie like that and cut and then move and then cut. But when you're doing live like that, you can't do that.
No.
And the timing has to be perfect, and that timing was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that the public takes for granted, and just what you said, that was a fantastic point, and that's just it. It's like when these guys are going a mile a minute like that, and they're hitting everything. It's not choreographed. I mean, and that word is used so much in pro wrestling. There's no starts and stops to this. This is live action, and that's just a testament to the fact that those guys deserve to be in that main event. They're all young guys. I was on the independents with Ambrose, and I got to see him at that level, and everybody knew. When he'd cut, he just had that. He had the air about him. He had the matches, and everybody just knew from Jump Street that he was going to go, and he sure did. And he is really proving everybody right. He's doing a fantastic job up there.
As the Shield, I can see him being really effective. Do you see him going solo at all?
He's definitely.
Do you think he's going to do that?
It's funny because you said it, because he started with a singles match with Kofi.
Yeah.
And as a solo, he was great.
You're going to see him headlining WrestleManias for sure.
Really? Wow.
Absolutely. I would put my life on it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was hard to see what he looked like as far as how physically in shape he was underneath that
because
gear.
they're so covered. Yeah.
So he, out of the Shield, out of everyone that represents the Shield, he looks like the smaller.
It's like SWAT team outfits.
Yeah, that'll probably be his first transformation into when the time is right to where he's just getting a little bit stale. Ba-boom, they'll give him that transformation.
Exactly.
And they'll give him a nice big shove on his own.
But right now they just developed a Shield where they actually did a match. A real match like they did with the tag match. They're going to milk that for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the WWE is really smart about that, where other wrestling companies don't do that. I mean, I think since Triple H has been more hands-on, they've really taken with the characters and the way they're milking things, and they've really taken an old school approach, and I think that's what the business needs, because we are I think now we're waiting for that next boom, and I think it's around the corner now, because you've got all these young guys, the Daniel Bryans, the CM Punks, the Dean Ambroses, and what is the guy that hurt his ankle?
Oh, Roman?
Roman Reigns.
Roman. He's Rocky's cousin, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Wait, Rocky Sylvester Stallone?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Rock.
Because I was like, oh, that Rock.
No, the one that matters.
I didn't know we were calling him Rocky.
No,
You'll have to forgive me.
So I mean, you're looking at a bunch of and these guys are main eventing now, but you're looking at some future WrestleMania headliners for sure.
God, I wish I would have known that. I met the Rock's mom at the CAC this year.
She's a beautiful lady.
Oh yeah, she really is. And Roman is a very handsome man. I wish there was a girl here for me to talk smack with, because I think we're missing a huge element. The man is gorgeous.
Well, there you go, and
gorgeous.
That's fantastic for his pocketbook.
Oh
because,
yeah.
Or his wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I just kind of just sit back and I could have a cigarette after one of the matches.
Are you fantasizing right now?
Should we leave you alone?
Can you give me a minute? I have to watch the Shield.
She's sweating over here.
God, I love that guy. So I mean, God, I know that he's part of a team, but he definitely captures my attention.
Well, their
entire
teamwork is really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And the other guy too, Tyler Black. He was on the Indies. His name is
Seth.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Rollins,
Yeah. He's another one that really can connect to that younger audience. He's got the the emo hair, and I'm getting a little older, so I don't know all the terms. Forgive me, kids. But he really connects with that young audience. I think in look, as soon as I think he's the baby face in the mix.
You think?
I really do. I think he's gonna.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be the baby face in the mix, and I think they're gonna do with him what they wanted to do with Justin Gabriel. And I don't understand. He must be hurt or something. I don't know. I thought that kid was going to go straight to the moon.
Me too. He was great.
Yeah, I mean, they found him out of South Africa. I thought he was going to go to the moon. He must be injured right now because they really did some nice stuff with him for a little while. So I don't think he doesn't seem like the type of guy that does anything to get heat or anything in the locker room. He seems like a nice guy. But yeah, I think Seth Rollins is gonna be a future main eventer for sure as well.
It's gonna be interesting to see.
Or Ambrose is just a heel, man, through and through. That kid has got those looks. He just looks like that heel that you just want to, he just gets under your skin big time. And he doesn't let it go. He doesn't let it up for a second. Everything he does, every way he grabs an arm ahead, where he goes for a cover, everything he does, he's got that just intense character about him, and I think he's a moneymaker.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a beat.
Nope.
It's bigger than life, telegraphed properly, and the whole thing is just crisp.
He's a moneymaker.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, out of the three, I thought Seth was the most technical and precise worker.
Ambrose is a little chaotically sloppy, but it works for him. It's a little bit of a throwing him over there, jumping down, the hair flying off, and he really plays to those. I guess he plays to his weaknesses, maybe, if that's a weakness. But he really knows how to get that over. He looks like he's in a fight. And I do like that about him. And I agree with you. Rollins is very technical and a fantastic wrestler. He's out of Iowa, I believe.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow, I was really impressed with him when I could take my eyes off of Roman. My second was Seth. But that was really awesome. And here we are talking about the Shield, and yet we forget that Sheamus was in the match.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a bit too corny for me.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit, huh?
Yeah, he's just, I feel
Why
like...
is that?
He just, the fella thing, it's very... he kind of got stuck in that just goofy, gimmicky thing that it just doesn't resonate with me. And I think he's more for the children.
Yeah, sure.
He's just, I would like to see him. The one thing about the WWE that I really hate is the flip-flopping of the, back in the day, Ricky Steamboat was a good guy through and through. Hulk Hogan was a good guy through and through. Rick Rude was a bad guy through and through. And they had this, I think because there is so much television now, it is so crammed down your throat. There's, however many hours. Where, back in the day, there was, a couple Saturday morning.
That's it. Yeah.
And, and you'd have that special Saturday night main event, and you'd have maybe 4 pay-per-views a year, if that. And I think now that because they have so much programming, the guys get stale quicker. So they have to turn them here and turn them there. And that's the one thing about wrestling that I don't like. I like banking on a guy, but the reason why I said that is because I would really like to see Sheamus as a heel.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he just looks like a heel to me. He just looks like somebody that your favorite guy, you'd be scared that if he was up against Sheamus. Sheamus is just such a lumbering, big, tough-looking guy. I mean, he's got these wrists like this, and he's just a big, tough guy. And I would like to see him in a heel role. If it was my game to book, I would probably have done it a little differently. But who's to say? They're the ones making all the money, making all the moves. They obviously know what they're doing.
Sure.
I think the animated side of his character actually works because it's larger than life.
Well, that's the beauty about pro wrestling is you can have a family of 5 and everybody has a different favorite. And that's what's really great about it. And if you have a brother and a sister, 2 brothers, they can fight over, he's this, he's that. And it can be a conversation just like this, but brought down to the level of children.
Sure.
It can really put together some banter and put family together to make them have a wonderful experience on a
Not only that, they'll
Friday
buy
night.
their own action figures and have them fight.
Absolutely,
That's right.
and that's the fun of it, and that's being I often miss being a young fan. That was a really fun time. In your room with the PVC, fighting with the guys and stuff.
But I was a young fan back before then when they only had like local TV.
Yeah.
They didn't have internet.
Yeah.
So you went home and you just said, God, we had a great time tonight. But the wrestling was it was believable and scary, and nobody had to go to analyze it because there was no internet to analyze it on.
Yeah.
When I was young, I started watching wrestling in the West Palm Beach Auditorium, and there was an element of danger there. You'd run off to see the wrestlers come, out the door into the ring, and you'd slap, Dusty Rhodes or somebody, oh man, and then the heels would walk by, right, and the people in the crowd were they were of devious sorts, some of them, you know what I mean, and you'd be a little scared as a kid, 3 years old, 5 years old, running around that, a place like that.
And there were no barriers.
Yeah, there was an element of danger back then, and I think that's why the character I portray and the wrestlers that I really love, like the Bruiser Brodies and the Sheiks and the Abdullahs and stuff, I like that element of danger, and I like presenting that in my character and in my wrestling to make the people a little bit uneasy to not know what's happening, and that's what's cool about independent wrestling, is there is no barriers.
Right.
They don't know if you're going to jump that barrier.
Well, if you remember, I don't know, you might be too young for this. Back in those days when they had those little independent, NWA ran here in West Coast, and they said they'd do a small town, San Diego or Bakersfield or something. And they'd go into the ring, and all the kids would run to the Baby Force for autographs. And they'd sign them right there. They had 20 kids around.
They would sign it at the turnbuckle.
At the turnbuckle. And then they go to the heel, and you take the pencil and break it, throw it back at the kid, right? And then pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
He had no one over there.
Yeah.
And you knew that they already established who the face and heel was the minute they got in the ring.
Yep.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. I was coming up during times like that, and where prior to the breaking of kayfabe.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. The internet.
Yeah.
It was, the heel would always come to the ring first because it was much easier to get somebody to hate you than it was to get somebody to love you.
Yeah.
So he'd set the table, he'd come out with that scowl on his face, and a lot of times guys these days, they talk too much. They blah blah. They yell at all the people. These guys didn't yell at anybody.
No, just a look.
They had a look and an air about them.
Yeah.
And that's old school.
And I used to ask myself as a kid before I got in the business, why are all these guys so hateful? They come in there, they hate everybody. They hate you. They hate me. They hate that guy. What went wrong in their life that they hate the world? And they're there to hate everybody in the ring, and I just hate everybody. Jeez, how negative.
Well, it's funny because a heel has to believe that he's right.
Of course.
And that's the best heel. It's like, Jake Roberts was a wonderful heel. Like, if somebody, you did this to me, and that's why I dropped you on your head on the floor, and this and that. And they have to believe when Lex Luger was a heel that would just go out and one day he'd be mean, and then the next day he'd be high-fiving people for no rhyme or reason. And I always hated that. I didn't know why it was wrong as a kid, but I just knew it was wrong in the art of pro wrestling.
Right.
Exactly.
And I was like, wait a minute, what is up with that? But a heel has to believe he's right, and that's the best heel.
Did you ever work as a babyface?
Yes,
And
I had.
He is today.
Yeah, well,
I just want to squeeze your little cheeks.
But yeah, I was in a tag team prior to the, never as the Sheik, have I worked as a babyface, but I was in a tag team, and that's where Moxley or Ambrose and Rollins and many of these guys, Daniel Bryan and all these guys would go through, and I'm from Florida, so I've only been in California 2 years. So I would go through Florida, and all these guys would be coming around and in and everything, and I got to see them and work with them and work against many of them and everything. And some of them you knew when you saw them. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So how would you rate the whole show on a 1 to 10?
Oh, on a 1 to 10?
Yeah.
10.
Would you?
I'm going to give it a 10. I could. Well, no, wait. Can I take it back?
Yes.
Can I take it back? Okay. 9.5. And do you want to know why?
No Divas match.
No Divas
No
match.
Divas match.
Would have got a 10, but no Divas match, and that was very disappointing because I think they really need to work on their diva
There
pool.
must have been a reason. What would you rate it?
Oh, you forgave him?
I'd rate the show. I'd rate it an 8.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can't give a 10 to anything.
Yeah.
Except myself.
Too much of a heel.
Yeah, too much except to myself. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good show. I'm looking forward to next week because this really was the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
But it's hit and miss every week. You don't know. It's just like a product. You don't know one week or the next if it's going to be good or not. But this really hit the mark.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to cool it down to heat it up.
Yeah.
So what about, you know what, we didn't really even touch on Triple H and, his promo that he did. Did you guys have any thoughts?
The one thing
Did we?
about Triple H, though, that
sorry.
he's getting so much flack over the concussion stuff on the internet, that people are really bent out of shape and everything. And what's the difference of somebody, selling a concussion or selling a broken ankle?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really get that. So I guess because it's in the news now, so we're more sensitive. But I don't know. I think Triple H is a phenomenal worker.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think everything he does in front of the camera and behind the camera, thumbs up for me.
How old is he now?
Oh, I don't know.
He's got to be in his early 40s. I don't think he's too
Well, he
old.
was trained by Killer Kowalski.
Yep.
And it's all old school. His mind is old school. That's why you're seeing some of that again.
Yeah.
And everything goes full circle in life. It just does.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that happen because those are storylines and those are characters, and that's what we grew up watching, and we believed it and we loved it. And then it got off on a tangent somewhere else, and now it's coming back again.
Yeah. And speaking of Kowalski, when you speak of that lumbering heel like Swagger reminds me of like a...
I'm so glad you said that. I used to say that all the time. He does remind me of that.
Yep. And maybe not so much the facials and things like that, because he's not there yet.
The body language.
Yeah, the body language, the look.
The look.
For sure.
Yeah. Kowalski was a big man.
Very big man. Very scary man.
Yeah. Do you remember a match, to get off topic for a second, with Ox Baker where he did the heart punch?
I remember Ox Baker and the heart punch.
The crowd just went nuts.
Yeah.
They wanted to kill him.
And
this was one move the whole match.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if the heart punch landed, your guy was gone.
Yeah.
That was the cue that the guy was leaving the territory.
Right.
Wow.
So when he would draw back for that heart punch and he'd land it, you'd never see that guy again. So that move was over.
And the guy was down on the mat, and he kept giving it to him, and the fans are starting to storm the ring because he kept giving a heart punch, and the guy's dead in the ring. He's just laying there, and he kept giving it to him again and again and again. The fans, I never seen anything like it. It was
wow. I wish I would have seen that.
It's funny when people say, "Oh, certain things weren't a good finish" or something like that. You know what's a good finish? Anything that people believe. Whatever you build is a good finish if the people believe it. Like Tim Horton used to do the roll-up. People would say, the roll-up, that's not a good finish. Well, when Tim Horton would do the roll-up and then finally he would get it, whenever Tim Horton would go for the roll-up and the people would be on the edge of their seat, that's a good finish.
Sure.
Because they're biting on it.
Sure.
So.
Whatever works.
But the heart punch, that was a good finish.
That was a good finish. Well, we're out of time.
Oh, darn. It was so fun.
Yeah,
This is really great having you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can you come back again?
I would love to.
Do you live nearby?
I live in Huntington Beach.
Well, I'll have the limo pick you up. She'll be driving it.
I like that idea.
Exactly. From Laguna. I'll be stopping by to pick you up, and we'll carpool.
Are you from Laguna?
Yeah. Well, I'm living there now.
Excellent.
Love it.
Kind of around.
This is where we find out where we can find you on the internet.
Oh,
and around
thanks.
and about. So
Thank
you tell them.
Thank you. Okay. Well, Little Egypt. You can find me on Facebook on my official page of Little Egypt, as well as my profile. Glow is my first name. Little Egypt Running is my second name, and of course Twitter, which we'd love to have you, especially if you're going to follow the show. We're going to definitely start promoting our guests way early so that we build up our listeners.
Right.
So thank you.
Where can we find you?
On Twitter, I'm at at Almighty Sheik. And bumpdrunk.com. Come over and buy a T-shirt. Buy one for your friend.
Absolutely. I'm going to go there for sure.
Cool.
Did you know that I have my own show, Rick's Corner?
I do not.
I do. I have almost close to 7 million viewers now.
Oh, fantastic.
All in bodybuilding, nutrition, and wrestling. And
wonderful.
I'll send you a link to it.
All
so
interested
you can
in
find
that.
me there at rickdrasin.com, at Twitter at Ric Drasin. And Anabolic Outlaws are my sponsors. They have great products for bodybuilding as well. And I have a new app out for paceboss.com, which runners use, and it has me talking them through their workouts. We're going to 1 more mile, 2 more miles, going to speed it up, slow it down. I'm also going to be doing PaceBoss, an app of bodybuilding training.
Is it your voice? Are we going to hear your voice?
It's my voice.
Oh, how lucky are we? Oh my God, I want the app. I'm going to do it.
Congratulations.
I'm going to do
It's
it.
incredible.
Paceboss.com, and it's pretty cool. And the guys that own it and run it are really great guys. And I do want to do the bodybuilding one for training. Here we're going to do chest today. We'll do back today and shoulders. So that's coming too.
That's so cool. I'm going to be,
really
and now
awesome.
over time you're going to see my muscles kick in,
Absolutely.
and I'm going to rock up.
Me too. Thank you for watching SmackDown. Stay tuned next week. The Ballards will be back, and of course, Angelina will be back, and we're going to have you back for sure one of these days.
Sounds good.
Because you did a fantastic job today.
Thank you so much.
I'm very proud of you. Thanks for watching.
And that's a
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
You gonna say buzz you later?
Right now.
buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.